Story 1. If you are attractive, people will tell you frequently. If you are not, you must determine that for yourself. Dave Chappelle. Story 2. When I was walking through a bar in my early 30s, I overheard a guy say to his friends something about my looks. I guess they were checking me out, and in response, his friend said, "She's not that bad." I thought I looked pretty good that night too. Story 3. You receive many compliments about your personality, sense of humor, or kindness, but rarely about your looks. I feel it is important to mention that, although I am a man, my wife has shared her experiences from her upbringing. I believe she is gorgeous. She is the most beautiful woman in the world to me. She is definitely not unattractive, but she has always been heavier while her sisters are thin and more conventionally attractive. People have constantly admired their appearances, whereas my wife has been described as the kind one, the one who always helps others, or the one with the lovely singing voice. Therefore, I make an effort to tell her as often as I can that I find her pretty, beautiful, and attractive. Story 4. Make a TikTok saying, "Why am I so ugly?" If the comments get mad at you, you are probably attractive. If they say, "Oh my gosh, no you're not, you're so pretty," then you might be unattractive. Story 5. My first indication was when everyone I knew in college was being used as models for photos, and I was never asked to be in a photo. Story 6. Toddlers tell you that you are ugly. Toddlers do not really lie or have a proper sense of manners. I wake up from a nap to a bombardment of replies. Thank you all for one of my most upvoted comments ever. Story 7. People often treat you as if your presence is irritating to them. Additionally, individuals tend to be less patient and may say hurtful things without reason. These observations are based on my personal experiences. Story 8. If you think you might be an unattractive woman, you are not. If you are actually unattractive, you will know. People will remind you of it frequently. Story 9. You will know if you are unattractive. You will realize it before you are able to speak, based on how people look at you. Story 10. If you are in a group with an attractive girl, men will avoid looking at you or talking to you. They may be intentionally rude to indicate that they find you unattractive. Story 11. It's hard to say. Many people have told me that I must have a long line of men wanting to date me, but that's not the case. I've been called ugly more times than I can count, ignored, and treated as if I were invisible. At the same time, I have received many free items and privileges based on my appearance. So, to some, I am exceptionally attractive, while to others, I am not attractive at all. Some people have tried to humble me, put me down, and ruin my self-image. I have also encountered behavior that seemed driven by jealousy. I think most people don't know how to react when they see me, though. Story 12. I noticed it when I went out with my friends. They would always catch guys staring at them, winking, and turning around when passing. It became exhausting listening to them talk about having multiple boys interested in them. Story 13. People, both men and women, may dislike you for merely existing, and they may have more sympathy for an attractive murderer. Additionally, someone could be the nicest and most popular person while being unkind to you specifically. Story 14. It doesn't matter whether you are unattractive or not. The most important thing is having extremely high levels of self-confidence. Story 15. There is no male attention unless someone is disgusted by you. You have never been on a date or had any boyfriend experience. You have not experienced the typical advantages that females have. Your female friends don't want to be seen with you, and people seem annoyed by your presence for no reason. When you call yourself ugly in front of others, there is awkward silence instead of the usual reassurance. Story 16. Men do not typically approach you. Attractive women often receive attention from men in various places such as the gym, the store, the gas station, or on the street. If you are considered unattractive, you may not receive this kind of attention, which can actually be quite nice. Story 17. You know that supposedly universal female experience of being catcalled, having boys and men hit on you and refuse to take no for an answer, and having boys and men make gross sexualizing comments or jokes about you. Yeah, I never experienced any of that. Story 18. I was told a lot. When I was in middle school, My best friend told me I was the funniest looking person she had ever seen. She gave me the nickname Wombat Girl. So that has been fun to remember at random times in my adult life. I will be thinking about that on my deathbed someday. Story 19. When you can go to any gas station without worrying about being approached. In fact, you can go anywhere and know that you will not be looked at twice. If you are with attractive friends, there is a good chance you will be completely ignored by men trying to approach your friends. Story 20. If you are attractive enough, men will often show interest. It is more about being able to choose rather than actively searching for a partner. Compliments, flirting, and attempts to make you laugh can be common signs of interest. If you go out with your friends and notice they receive more attention and are treated better while you are not, it could indicate that you may not be perceived as attractive. This seems to be a straightforward way for a woman to assess her appeal. Story 21. Men don't see you as a person anymore. Literally. They will walk right through you. They also get angry when you are friendly because they assume you are hitting on them and feel insulted. I started wearing big rings on my left hand to avoid giving the wrong impression. And before anyone responds with "not all men," I agree with that. I appreciate men who are respectful and have evolved, but there are enough who behave this way for me to notice the difference. Story 22. If you don't know you are unattractive, then you are likely not. You are probably just somewhat average, like the vast majority of people. Story 23. When a guy you date tells you, "I don't date for looks, I date for personality," another person said to me, "You're beautiful in your own way." While discussing a stunning actress that my eldest child sent me a picture of, my child pointed out she was the same age as I am. They also mentioned that I looked much older for my age and unattractive. Reading between the obvious lines, I realized that I had been bullied in school for being overweight and unattractive, so I've been aware of this for a long time. Story 24. In my opinion, I only view people as unattractive when their personality is unappealing. My former boss was conventionally beautiful, but her behavior was unpleasant and intimidating, and I can no longer appreciate her appearance. Story 25. If you really want to know and can tolerate rejection, you can act confident or entitled around an attractive but somewhat arrogant man. They will have no hesitation in pointing out every flaw in someone they believe should be humbled. Additionally, this may cause people to dislike you and exaggerate their feelings. They may also need to not be attracted to confident or entitled women. If that feels excessive, you can simply listen for what people are criticizing when they don't like someone or think they are peculiar. If you have those same traits, now you know. Story 26. You would know that being unattractive is something you notice, especially as a woman whose worth is often tied to appearance by society. If you have to ask, you are most likely not unattractive. Story 27. Very often, boys express this in middle school. Later, you can see it on men's faces when they are introduced to you. They look around the room as if to say, "How can I get out of this conversation?" Can be irritating in work situations. I feel like yelling, "I'm not interested in you either, so can we talk about work?" Story 28. Men will ignore you if you are not attractive. If you are considered unattractive, they may be annoyed by your presence, especially when in the company of more attractive women. I have had various experiences in my life where I was thinner and noticed the differences in how I was treated. Interestingly, this also occurs when I straighten my hair, which seems to align with certain cultural standards. Honestly, I prefer being off the attractive radar because that means you deal with almost constant attention and harassment. This phenomenon occurs in the workplace too. I have personally experienced different treatment, both positive and negative, and I have observed differences in treatment among my female coworkers as well. Story 29. You are neither ugly nor hot. The truth is that some people will like you and some will not. I cannot count how many partners I had who labeled themselves as ugly when, in reality, they simply did not meet the conventional beauty standards of being flawless, slim, and fair-skinned. Constantly doubting your own attractiveness is not an ugly trait, but it is certainly a turn-off. Treat yourself and those around you well, and I guarantee you will look and feel fantastic. Story 30. I have experienced both sides of the situation. When you are perceived as unattractive, People often treat you as if you are invisible. Men may show no interest, and others might roll their eyes if you speak positively about your appearance. Children and teenagers can be especially cruel, making jokes or snickering at your expense. I was once asked out as a dare. Those who are considered attractive often treat you poorly or see you as a potential project for a makeover. Once you meet the conventional standards of attractiveness, opportunities arise. You receive more positive attention from those who find you appealing, which can foster friendships with individuals of the same gender or, conversely, provoke jealousy. Just ask women what it is like to go without makeup for a few days. It is a real experience. Story 31. Other women call you brave for no apparent reason. Women tell you that you are beautiful and should be a model, which implies that you do not threaten them. Men do not pursue you. Story 32. One thing to note. Unless you have physical deformities, for most men, attractiveness is tied to weight and grooming. I remember reading a travel writer discussing women in Venice. To paraphrase, they were not strictly beautiful, but so well-groomed and lean that most men would not notice the difference. This is the essence of the matter. If you are slim and well-groomed, even if your face is below average, most men will consider you fairly attractive. I consider myself somewhat below average, big nose, frizzy hair. But the times in my life when men have acted as if I were attractive were when I was exceedingly slim and fit. I even had people say to my face that my weight loss had improved my appearance when I was borderline anorexic. This is horrible, but that's how people are. Story 33. You aren't treated as well as others. People may not hold the door open for you or may be rude in conversation. Story 34. When you have never been asked out genuinely, but you have had plenty of boys in high school tell you that their friend thinks you are cute while their friend gets grossed out a few feet away as if you cannot see or hear them. Story 35. Oh, I will tell you that you are completely ignored and invisible. You are shoved into the background of pictures, and you're eternally on the planning committee at work. Since you aren't considered attractive, you have to provide unpaid labor to be accepted, and dating is a nightmare. I'm a solid 5 at best. I'm overweight. I have psoriasis, and my face is not very pretty. I've been like this my entire life. The best compliments I heard growing up were that at least I was smart. Regarding dating, people can be very cruel when looking for a romantic partner. There are many other little things. People just don't want to help or engage with me very much, and I'm never up for promotions at work, even though I always receive great end-of-year reviews. Story 36. The same as if you are a man. If people are not romantically interested in you, they will usually explain why. Sometimes directly, sometimes in a roundabout way, but you can generally figure it out. I was unusual in this respect, as I had what a psychologist termed reverse body dysmorphia. I thought I was very good-looking, but most other people disagreed. I was told I was ugly to my face several times. Those were the most honest moments, but it was the family and friends who danced around the issue that really hurt and still kind of does. Very confusing times, to be honest. Eventually, I underwent jaw and nose surgery, some of it provided by the National Health Service. I utterly despise involuntary celibates and have disliked that way of thinking since before the term was even coined. I knew I couldn't just wallow in pity and expect others to like me for who I was. I had to raise my standards to match others, so I did. It was very much worth it. Various relationships developed after I improved my appearance, and I am now happily married. Story 37. Women compliment specific non-physical aspects of you, such as your hair, makeup, earrings, and dress, while men typically do not offer compliments unless prompted. Story 38. Never being asked out or flirted with. I am 24 years old and still waiting for either to happen. Story 39. How do men who have nothing to gain by being nice to you treat you? Many men will be kind and friendly to women they are interested in. Story 40. Very specific points. When someone looks at you, looks at your friend, compliments your friend, and then just looks at you. Never being approached or complimented by strangers. Being told by a guy that he doesn't usually go for girls like you. Compliments consist of, "You're actually so nice, kind, funny. I never would have thought that by looking at you." Children asking, "Why do you look like that?" or pointing out specific features and saying they are weird. People being genuinely shocked when they learn you have a significant other, especially if your partner is very attractive. Others trying to set your partner up with different people, telling them they can do better, flirting with them, etc. Being told you could pass as cute, but not hot or sexy. Basically, if you're considered unattractive, the world will make that known to you. You won't have to wonder. Story 41. I realized I was unattractive after visiting 5 different salons, none of which asked for my picture, even though their Instagram profiles are filled with random people. Story 42. You weren't even asked out as a joke. You have such lovely hair. You look like you give great hugs. Men will treat you poorly to your face while women will talk behind your back. One of your male friends will make a joke about you in a sexual context, and people will gag and dry heave. I'm right there, guys. You never dated in high school because you knew it would only end in tears. You probably went to prom with a group or your older sibling if you went. Your dad gets way too angry at your sister after you two were joking about you being unattractive or having no friends. Once again, I'm right there. People don't believe you when you talk about your experiences with sexual assault or harassment. Story 43. I see a striking difference between attractive and unattractive women in how they are treated by men. Attractive women are often approached, smiled at, and given general attention, even by people who may not gain anything from it. It seems to be a reflex to be charming and humorous around attractive women. Unattractive women, on the other hand, are treated in a neutral manner, neither disrespected nor engaged with humor or flirting. I may be guilty of this behavior without realizing it, but it seems to be a natural tendency. Story 44. I have felt unattractive since I was a child, and despite how many people tell me otherwise, I still see myself as that ugly little girl. Story 45. Is anyone really ugly? Or do they just not have the money to dress and style themselves, or know what looks good on them? Honestly, unless you are like a hunchback with no teeth or something, most of the time ugly is subjective. Sure, there might be much prettier people, but I have seen many people praise women in Hollywood, and in my opinion, I think they are not that attractive. However, with great makeup and fashion, they look happy, and I understand why others find them attractive, even if I do not. Conversely, I have told many people that I think are the most stunning women in Hollywood, and sometimes I only get a shrug in response, which drives me crazy. To each their own. Story 46. Post a video expressing feelings of unattractiveness. If the comments say, "No, you're beautiful," then you are average at best. If the responses are critical for seeking compliments, you are considered attractive. Story 47. People are neutral. They are not kind nor unkind. I lost 100 pounds and became attractive. When I wait to cross at a crosswalk, people actually stop now. They never did before. Story 48. Are people nice to you and do you receive free things? If yes, you're not unattractive. If people are rude right from the start, then maybe you're not appealing. With men, if you're genuinely attractive, they may not be very nice. If they are nice, then you are generally considered average to pretty. If they treat you like a friend, you might be perceived as unattractive. Story 49. At stores like Ulta and Sephora, you are often ignored or asked if you need assistance after looking around for an extended period. The staff typically do not engage and seem surprised if you make a purchase. You are seen as a sister or best friend by boys in junior high, high school, and college, but none show romantic interest. Instead, they use you as a sounding board for discussing other women or seek connections to attractive friends you have. Similarly, boys might express a desire for more attractive women in their lives to resemble you, yet they do not show interest in you and avoid addressing why they aren't dating you. As a child, you receive noticeably less attention from adults, with no one telling you that you're cute or taking pictures of you. You may even find that you have been edited out of photos where other children are considered cute. Very few adult family members offer piggyback rides, play games, or want to spend time with you like they do with other children. Many women who do not fit conventional standards of attractiveness probably recognize this early in childhood. As a woman in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you may be taken seriously, and few people are surprised by your intelligence or the degrees you hold, which can be a positive aspect. Compliments you receive typically focus on your kindness, personality, sense of humor, and work ethic, with little to no mention of your appearance. Story 50. You receive compliments about everything except your appearance. You frequently play the role of the wing woman. You often face romantic rejection, or people rarely commit to you for the long term. Others seem uncomfortable when they see you or pull away when you attempt to touch or kiss them. While your friends say you are a perfect 10, your love life suggests otherwise. Story 51. The best way to avoid being perceived as unattractive is to maintain a healthy weight. It is important to check your height and determine a healthy range for your body mass index, BMI. Practicing good hygiene and ensuring you smell good can significantly improve how you are perceived. This can eliminate many concerns that individuals may have about their appearance. While I cannot comment on genuine physical deformities, it is true that people will treat you based on their perceptions and how you present yourself. Story 52. What does it matter? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Just be aware that a portion of society finds even children attractive. Curves are not necessary either, as the boyish figure seems to be in vogue. Make sure to conduct a background check before entering a serious relationship. Story 53. I've always known I wasn't attractive due to the way I am treated, mostly by men. I never got hit on or asked for my number, and I was often ignored when a man would go talk to my friends. On dates, the waitress would focus all her attention on my date and try to flirt with him while giving me a disgusted look. The few times I received compliments were always about my personality or sense of humor. The cherry on top was when my boyfriend and I started dating. I was often told, "Your boyfriend is such a catch," which he is. He's tall, strong, has long hair, is smart and gentle, basically straight out of a telenovela. However, he never received the same compliments toward me. On the plus side, 2 of my nieces think I'm really pretty. They have always told me this since they could speak. Story 54. If you are a child, other children will tell you things. If you are a teenager, your classmates will point to their friends and say, "Hey, friend they are trying to embarrass likes you." If you are an adult, drunk individuals may approach you at bars as last call approaches, but no one is likely to seek a serious relationship. They may be interested in a casual encounter, but that is usually as far as it goes, and they will often be under the influence to do so. This is all based on the notion that you are considered unattractive but not the lowest rating. If you are rated the lowest, people will actively avoid you or make fun of you. Story 55. On many of these types of threads, I haven't been able to tell. But thanks to this discussion, I believe I'm not unattractive. I'm feeling a bit better about myself. Story 56. I honestly don't know. I thought I was unattractive, but my experiences outside have changed that perspective. I'm not even thin, but I am treated extremely well by others. I make new friends just walking down the street. I'm either attractive or some kind of otherworldly being. Story 57. Does milk curdle at the sight of you? Do people yell, "That's a huge person," as you walk by? Did a spider ever write messages on its web like some pig while you were near it? If you said yes to any of these, you might be considered unattractive. Story 58. You posted here asking the same question as many others. Honestly, many men will find you attractive. Stop worrying about it. You're beautiful, so be confident. Story 59. People will tell you constantly. They may try to sugarcoat it. You'd look so much prettier if you lost some weight. You could always just get a nose job. There's someone out there for everyone. Just date in your league. But people love to tell women that they are hideous and worthless, that their opinions don't matter, and that they might as well go rot in a cave. If you are too skinny, prepare for countless comments about how you need to eat, people trying to force food down your throat, and strangers touching your visible bones without permission just to point them out. If you are too fat, everyone, including other overweight individuals, will try to impose their diets and workout routines on you, frequently discussing body mass index and how women are supposed to be delicate and dainty. They will claim that nobody will ever love an overweight woman, not even other overweight men. Like the ugly in general, your opinions and accomplishments are often dismissed because being fat is viewed as a moral failing that invalidates everything else about you. Signed, a woman who has experienced being both skinny and fat. Story 60. Everyone is unattractive to someone. Additionally, everyone is attractive to someone. Just don't worry about it and enjoy your life. Story 61. People often do not make eye contact or smile at you. If you are attractive, those passing by or interacting with you, such as cashiers or coworkers, will tend to make more eye contact and smile more, regardless of gender. One observation women make as they age and feel less attractive is a significant change in how their surroundings respond to them, often leading to feeling ignored or overlooked. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.